Hello guys, good evening. I would like to, introduce you today's speaker, Gautam.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey guys, before I start, a couple of questions. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir, we can.
Awesome. So, my role over here is to tell you a story. And in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to tell you a story about how Uber and how data science combine together to become one of the biggest companies in the world. All right. Let me quickly share my screen. All right. So, before I go ahead, my name is Gautam Casey. I am a data scientist. I think that's all you need to know about me. And then I will I will answer most of your questions towards the end of the session. Now, going ahead, before 2015, right, there was a huge traveling problem. Just 1 second, just readjusting my video so that I can see my cute face. Cool. Okay. So before 2015, there was a huge traveling problem, right? How many of you know what this problem is all about? You can type it out in the chat window. What traveling problems did we have 7 or 8 years ago?
Planning for traveling, it seems.
Exactly. Now, let me put a little more context. Okay, so there you have, you know, your office, your home, your movies. Now, you had an insane trouble of traveling to all these places. Now, let me give you more hints. We used to have Fast and Furious on the road, like literally the Indian version of it. Whenever there was a new car in town, you would see an auto driver come up and say, "Wanna race?" Or you would often be riding in an auto where somebody thinks he's a Formula One racer and he would keep going ahead. Now, think about this. Think about how cheap the rates were, right? Like when you used to call an auto or an Uber or a cab to your place, one, the first thing, you did not know how much time they would take to come. Second, you did not know where to find one. Third, you did not know how much it would cost you. And once the auto driver arrives, the biggest question would be, would he even go to my house? Because half the time they're like, "Main nahi aunga," or they'll be like, "Not today," right? Now, the second problem which you would face is, okay, you negotiated with the driver, you found the auto, everything happened, but when you get out, at the last point, he'd be like, "Sir, mere paas change nahi hai," or "I do not have change." And you would be like, "Oh God, I'm going to lose another 30 rupees." So what did Uber actually do, right? So now all they did was basically all of these unknown factors which I've been talking about, which is the money, right? How much would it cost me to get to a particular location? Second, how much time would it take me to reach my home or the theater? And within how much time am I going to get a cab? And the third one is driver behavior, because you never know, right? If you are familiar with South Indian movies, your auto driver could be one of these guys, right? And you never know, right? It's a surprise when you get into the auto because you're traveling with an absolute stranger. Now, what Uber did was very simple. It solved the problem of uncertainty. It made all of these become known, right? With just this simple technique, they were able to scale their business onto a huge scale. Now, let me show you what exactly Uber did, right? First, when you open the Uber app, you're able to see in how many minutes you're going to get a cab, one, and how much time is going to take you to your destination. And now you also know your cost, right? Initially, you never knew these things. Second, you don't have to worry about your driver because they already provide you with enough information about him to tell if he's good. Now, if we look at Mr. Harish here, Mr. Harish has 4.91 ratings. He's been with Uber for around 4.5 years. He has a lot of 6-star ratings and great attitude, etc., etc. Right? With this, you get a good impression of the driver. Now, next, if you had a bad experience with this driver, despite him having such good ratings, your feedback is always taken, right? So with this, but just by using this data, they were able to start providing you cabs at a much faster rate. Now, let me go one level deeper. Now, have all of you understood the business problem? Yes, no, use the chat window, guys, because I'm a person who loves to keep talking. And if you don't communicate with me, then it would be a webinar where I'm just trying to teach you. whatever I know. So exactly, yes, yes, okay, got it.
Well, I joined before 1 minute, so I've not listened from the starting.
That's all right. That's all right. You will catch up. Now, going ahead, let's see how Uber uses data science, right? First, let me give you a little facts about Uber. They've done about 1 billion trips by now. They have 8 million users using Uber. They have around 160,000 drivers with them. And they're around in 66 countries, 449 cities. Now you're like, Arey, I know all of this is just data. This is just random facts. No, what Uber does with this is it captures data. Now, using this data, what were they able to do? Search pricing. If you've ever wondered, when you try to book an Uber cab early in the morning, it's very expensive, but in the afternoon, it's cheap. But in the evening, it becomes expensive again. How do you think they're doing this? Anybody wants to give a shot?
Looting money, it seems, Gautam.
Well, looting money, of course, they're taking advantage of one thing: demand.
Demand
Like,
and supply, yes.
exactly. They're taking in charge of this. Now, when they know that you are going to book a cab and at this point you have to go, they'll be like, now it's time to 2x or 3x the fare on this guy so that I make some good money off him. And that's how it works. And Muskan says using statistics. Exactly. Now, I don't want you to go to that granular level. Now let's come back to the most, Uber level data. When I say Uber, it's like the bird's eye view. Okay. Now, what do they do? The second thing which they solved was giving you better cars. As in, whenever you get an auto or a cab earlier, you were always concerned about whether it will be clean or what kind of auto or cab am I getting. But Uber solved that issue as well. Based on your preferences, they provide you the cab. Next, they started detecting fake rides, fake cards, fake ratings. This doesn't concern us. This is more towards their business side. They started predicting fares and predicting time. Now, what does this mean to us? When Uber launched, they did not, so the pricing was very variable. So let's say if you had to book a cab from your house to MG Road, it would show 200 rupees. But by the time you got there, it would become 250. And that would be very pissing off, right? Because you would be very angry saying, you showed me 200 rupees, but when I got there, you're showing me 250. Now, how did they solve this problem? How do you think they solved this problem? What did they use?
Okay. Data analytics, it seems.
Data analytics, very nice. Since the session is on data analytics, whoever said that, bang on.
Gautam, surprisingly, 40 people are saying that, it seems, Gautam.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That means all of you are already very comfortable with what I'm saying. Now you wonder, okay, how do they start predicting time? Like, how do they know that from point A to point B, how much time it would take? So again, using data analytics, what they did is they took data from different points. Now, I don't want to reveal all of these to you because this is a fun game which we're going to play right after this. And at lastly, driver ratings doesn't concern us. Now, this quote, which I love the most, is while Uber is moving people around the world, data is what moves Uber, right? Now, so today's agenda is you're going to be learning about what is data science, a day in the life of a data scientist, which is typically one of my days. What do you need to learn to become a data scientist, and how can we help? Now, what is data science? Anyone want to give it a shot? What is data science? Type it in the chat box.
Guys, the chat for the 15 people who are on this call, we allowed you because you have the link. So please use this particular opportunity. Unlike other people, they're streaming it on YouTube. They can't directly answer these questions. So you can use the chat box to answer these. And my suggestion is, please don't try to Google it up.
Let's go. What is data science? Come on, it's okay, guys. There is no right or wrong answer. What do you think is data science? You can tell it right out, because I know that this is the first session. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to come and say, "Arey, ye galat hai." It's okay. What do you think is data science? Okay. I will ask this question 5 minutes after I'm done with the slides. Okay. Somebody finally answered. Study of data and programming skills. Very nice. Awesome, Muskan. Anyone else? Now they're like, okay, why is this guy not going ahead? I need some answers.
Observation and analysis of data, it seems, Gaut.
That's a great answer. Insights of data. Vikas says insights of data and stats. Yes, you're right. In simple words, preparing data for analysis. Darshan, bang on. Yeah. Thank you so much. See, thank you so much for, first of all, thank you so much for all of you people who've been participating and actually sending me messages, or else it feels like I'm a madman talking in front of the camera, right? Okay, so now let me tell you what is data science. It's the study of data to answer questions. Simple, very simple, right? This is all data science is all about. And I know a few people in the crowd who are from Andhra especially are like, is it this simple? But the thing is, it is. See, I don't want to give you many spoilers, but then I'm going to, again, as I told you, right, I'm telling you a story. Now you've just understood, okay, data science, okay, study of data to answer questions, okay. It's okay if you have this face right now. Going ahead, I need a big favor from all of you, right? Now I need all of you to help me recommend the best cab for someone under 2 minutes. Will you? If yes, I want you to type in the chat box saying help Casey. Come on, guys, I can't do this without you. Not help Casey. Yeah.
Guys, you can directly message in the chat. You need not send
Yeah,
a
use
personal message.
Guys, use everyone. I don't know if I look very old, but I am just like what 2-3 years senior to you, I guess, at max. Okay, I don't look old. But yeah, come on, guys, go ahead. Only Unschool wants to help me. Nobody else wants to help me solve this problem.
Ashrita wants to help you.
Muskan, okay. Guys, see, before I go ahead, let me tell you about this one prospect, okay? See, the thing is, there are two kinds of people in this world. One is the spectators and the other one are the players. Now, the spectators are the people who sit behind and watch. Like what you're doing right now is you're watching this webinar, very informative, you're learning something. But the thing is, if you don't actively participate in it, you will forget what just happened over here. And this 45 minutes would have been wasted for you. I don't want that to happen. And that's the reason why I'm pushing you people to become a little uncomfortable today and become the players, right? Once you become a player, you start asking questions, answering questions. Nobody is going to judge you if the question is right or wrong. There are 8 billion people in this world. It's okay. Nobody's going to judge you. So go ahead and start answering all these questions because that will help you clear those doubts. Okay. All right. So I've received many replies. Thank you so much. Now, going ahead, how do you approach this question? How do you think we will approach this question, guys? Like if I have to solve this problem, what do I need? Data, okay. Now everybody is silent. Oh, this guy will target me now. No, I won't. Stats, okay. Questions, yes. You start by asking more questions. Now, what are these questions? So there are 4 different types of questions which you could ask any problem, right? One is descriptive, then you have diagnostic, then you have predictive, and then you have prescriptive. Now, don't get carried away with these words. They look very complex. They're not. Descriptive is basically understanding what happened, is basically history, right? The next one is why did it happen? Understanding, okay, if a particular incident happened, why did it happen? The third one is predictive. Okay, since an incident occurred and you know why it occurred, can you predict what is going to happen next? And the last is prescriptive. Okay, since I know what is going to happen next, what kind of action can I take? Good understanding till now? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Chat box, spam, chat box. Yes, no, yes. Okay, Muskan says yes. You've been very active, Muskan. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, Darshan. All right. Now, going ahead, what kind of questions would you need to know about the Uber driver? Oh, sorry, the Uber rider. If you were to get somebody a cab, right? what are the historical questions which you would need? Start asking these questions, or you can start typing them. And since there's only like 12 people on this call, you, for this segment at least, you can unmute yourself and you can raise your hands and you can unmute, and then later you can tell me what kind of questions. Wait, somebody sent an interesting question. Which place do they want to go? Bang on. Hey Muskan, did you get the PPT before I joined the session? It seems like you're very bright and you know all of these even before I start, but thank you so much for participating. Going ahead, exactly what you said, Muskan. What places did they previously visit? Next. Others, come on, it's okay. It's okay. Try. All I want you to do is in this session, if you don't learn anything, I want you to learn one thing, which is asking questions. Very important. Being a data scientist is all about asking questions. And if you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. Now, go ahead. What more information would you need? Okay. What places did they previously visit? What are the questions? What are the questions? Think. Okay. How do you want to travel? Offline source. Okay. Okay. Which location do they often book from? Right. You want to know from where they're exactly coming. And the next one is, what time do they often book their cabs? Now, with these three questions, do you have the entire history of the customer? Yes. Yes. Okay. Finally, somebody is saying yes when I asked him to say yes. Thank you. Now, why did it happen? Think about this. Do they prefer cabs over autos? Now, see, you've already completed the first phase, as you have discovered, okay, what is this rider's history? Now, if I'm going to recommend or send him a cab in under 2 minutes, I've already known his history. Which places did he go? Where did he book from? And what time does he book, right? Now, what I'm going to go deeper into is, why did he book at this time, right? Does he prefer cabs over autos? Does he only ride with drivers with high ratings, or do users book more cabs on weekends, right? So these three questions give you a little more granularity into, okay, it starts telling you about the driver's behavior, right? Or the rider's behavior. Now, does he share rides? Now, based on this, you can next ask them another question saying, will a user book a cab at 8 p.m. today? If yes, what ratings would they give the driver? Now, based on whatever information we already know about the particular user, what we're trying to predict is, will he book a cab at 8 p.m.? If yes, then what kind of ratings would he give? Now, is it possible to answer this question if you have enough data? Yes, no. Be frank, it's okay.
I'm getting a couple of yes in the chats.
Okay.
Direct message.
Okay, got it. Yes, good. Yes, we will be able to answer this question if we have enough amount of data. Now, what should we do? Right? Can we predict what type of cab the user would like? Can we?
Yes.
Great. Should I provide low rating drivers in the morning and high rating drivers in the evening? Can I do this as well?
Yes.
Awesome. So now think about this, right? What is data science again? Back to that same two-liner, study of data to answer questions. Now your question segment is covered by the D square P square formula. Now let's not complicate it. D square P square is basically asking questions in different domains. Now in descriptive, you get to know the history. In diagnostic, you get to know that why it happened at that point. And in predictive, we get to know what we start predicting what would be their next outcome. And at last, what is it? What is the last P? Come on, what is the last P? Whoever answers this gets 10 points. And there's a secret prize at the end. What is the last P? Finally, thank you. It's prescriptive. Yes, perceptive. No, it's prescriptive. But thank you so much for answering. Now, What do you need to answer the questions? Tell me what would you need to answer these questions? Okay, still waiting. Data. On point, Vikas. Yes, we need data, right? Now, what is data, right? Data is just a collection. It could be anything, right? It's basically any information which is being collected. At this point, if I have to debrief data, the webcam which I'm recording is collecting data, the Zoom session is collecting data, there's a recording being done, my microphone is picking up data. So everything and anything we do picks up data. Now, whether it'll be useful or not, that is secondary, but anything you do today is tracked, right? Like the weather, or the at the airports at what time you would need to get flights, right? So it's nothing but facts or figures or information, and there's a lot to it. And when I say there's a lot to it, every sensor, like, do you know that your phone has at least 10 sensors in it? For this you'll say yes. Very nice. Okay, going ahead now. So think about this, right? So what data will you need to answer these questions? What places did they previously visit? Now, I want you to start telling me what are the different types of data you would need to basically answer each one of these questions. What places did they previously visit? What information would you need? His history? Good. Yes, history covers location and how often they book the cabs. It's a great answer. What else would you need? What else would you need? Think. It's okay. And you can start giving out examples. Now, data doesn't have to be a technical term. It could be anything. It could be time. It could be location. It could be multiple things. Now, what do you think would be or what data would we need to answer each one of these questions? Go ahead. I'm waiting. Which place do they often visit? Yes, that is a question, but what data would you need? Okay, let me make it easier for you. Okay, so one is would you need the number of rides he takes per day? Yes. Okay. What is the booking time of the day? And what is the cost of the rides? And driver data to basically give you information about what type of rider he is, and the ratings and stars for you and the rider, and your location and geography, right? These are the different data points which we would look at. Now, ideally, these look, very superficial. To dumb it down, to show you data in a Tableau format and how exactly data would look, this is how data would look. Now, let's go a little deeper. So in this data, what you can see is on Thursday, Mr. Gabbar Singh took a sedan cab from Ashok Nagar to MG Road at 9 a.m. in the morning, and he paid 250 rupees with a driver rating of 4, and he gave feedback, and his feedback to the driver was 5. Great. Now let's see what happened on Friday. Friday, he again took another cab, but this time he took it from MG Road and he went back to Ashok Nagar in the night at 10 p.m. Remember, all of these is information which will be used in the segments to come, so pay very close attention. And it costed him 600 bucks, and the driver rating was 4, and he gave a feedback of 5. Sunday, Gabbar, I think he forgot to go get groceries, so Gabbar went to the market from Ashok Nagar, and this time he went in the evening, and again he paid 400 bucks. What's very interesting here is on Sunday in the night, Gabbar, again, if you look at it, he took a cab. He took an auto from KR Market to Ashok Nagar, and at 9 p.m. and he paid 150. The driver rating was 4.5, but Gabbar gave 1 rating. And again on Thursday, he booked another cab from MG Road to Ashok Nagar at 10 p.m. in the night. Now, based on this, right, now you have a sense of what the data is, right? Now, so where we have come to in our simple equation of study of data to answer questions is first we learned the 4 different types of questions which we need to ask. Second, we learned what are the different facts or figures. Now, when I say facts, this is a fact, right? This is Gabbar Singh's history of riding with Uber. Now I know from where he travels to which particular destination at what time and how much does it cost and what are the different type of drivers he likes and what are the ratings he gives. Enough, a lot of data. You're like, oh God, this is way too much. Now, how do you answer the questions with data? Tell me, how do you answer the questions with data? Okay, everybody's like, very strange. How do we answer this? It's simple. You study it, right? Now, what are the different ways to study data? As someone said at the beginning of this webinar, you do stats and charts. You basically create charts to understand data better. And the other one is implying algorithms, maths, which involves a lot of math and models. Now, by models, there are very different types of models. There's prediction models, there are recommendation models. Now, I don't want to get into all that. Just know that in order to basically know more about your data, you need to study it. And the 2 ways of doing it is one by visualization, where you take all the data you have, make it into some bright charts, and you can display that information. The other one is making the information more relevant, right? So if I were to basically represent this data at let's say in a chart, it would be very easier for you to know which is the common booking location, what is his average cost, right? But at the same time, for deploying a machine learning model or to deploy any model, it would be a little more complicated and you would need more data points for that. Let's not talk about it for now. Right now, coming to the now it's time to answer all these questions, right? Which is what happened, why did it happen? Now that you have the data, I want all of you to start spamming the chat box with the answers. Okay, now let's ask the first question. What places did Gabbar previously visit? Look at this. Okay, Ashok Nagar. Yes. Anything else? MG Road, Ashok Nagar. Okay, okay, great, great. Yes. Now, which location did he often book a cab from? Which is, what was his booking location? Like, what is the most number of times a particular booking location is here? Is it MG Road? Is it Ashok Nagar? Is it KR Market? Ashok Nagar. Now, can I say that? Can I assume that Gabbar Singh stays at Ashok Nagar? Yes. Great. Thank you, Harani. So, going to the next question. What time did he often book his cabs? What time? What time? Tell me. Look at the data, guys.
Guys, you can message directly in the group. I mean, you need not send this personal message. Yeah,
you can actually send it in the group. 10 p.m., 10 p.m. Okay, great. Wow, I made this data and I think I have skipped a point. Great. Yes, 10 p.m. Vaishnavi says 9. But Vaishnavi, the thing is, if you look at it, on Thursday, he booked it at 9 a.m. And on Sunday, which is this particular point over here, let me just 1 second. Yeah. So if you look at Sunday, he actually booked it at 9 p.m. So that's not the same data points, right? And this is where, studying the data becomes very crucial, because we make these mistakes all the time. When we're looking at granular data, we forget this AM and PM, and there's a whole mess which happens after that. Now, going back, now, does Gabbar prefer cabs over autos? Yes or no? Yes, yes. Awesome. Guys, I think, see, you can start messaging directly in, if you change your preferences to everyone in the meeting, you can start sending it there as well. Okay. I know, because texting, the first one to text in the everyone section is usually very awkward because you're the first one to do it, but the number of DMs I'm getting is a lot, and it would be great that if you can start, start typing it there, it'll start building a momentum, and you also feel, okay, that person is answering, even I will answer. There is no okay, there is no everyone option. Got it. Okay, that's all right, then you can continue messaging me directly. It's okay, private messages. Going back, does he ride with high rating drivers only? Yes, no. Yes. Yes, everybody's saying yes. Awesome. Does Gabbar book more cabs on weekends? Yes, no, with this data points. Yes. Okay. Does he share rides? Okay, that data is not available here. But do you think Gabbar shares his rides? Let's see. A lot of people are telling yes. Why do you think Gabbar shares his ride? Because he's Gabbar Singh. That's just an internal joke. No. Yes. But how, Shravani, if I may ask, how do you know that he does not prefer sharing rides? Or Muskan, for that sake? It's okay. Give me your opinion. If you want to unmute and speak, even that's awesome. You can just raise your hand and you'll be unmuted. You can give me your perspective. See, data science is all about asking questions. Now, because I'm guessing he might go to work alone. Okay, that's a great answer. Okay, first rule of data science, guys, assumption is death. Never assume anything in the world of data science. The thing is, it's great to assume, but you should always evaluate it, right? We call it as hypothesis, or basically figuring out whatever we assumed is right or wrong. And Muskan, what you just said, saying he might go to work alone, that's an assumption. That's great. And once you have the data for it, you will be able to validate it. Understanding till now? All of you with me? Yes, no? Yes. Okay, great. Are you having fun? Okay, nobody's having fun.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get back. We should do some serious studying. Will a user book a cab? Now is the most interesting question of all. We're going to leave machine learning aside, and we're going to predict, because we're humans and we've understood this data, 5 data points, right? Do you think Gabbar will book a cab today? Today is Friday, right? Now tell me, do you think Gabbar will book a cab today? Jessica says yes. Okay, if Gabbar is booking a cab today, at what time do you think he'll book? Look at the data. 10 p.m. bang on. Wow, all of you people. Thank you so much. Yes, 10 p.m. I've taught you something. Okay, now going back. If yes, what ratings would he give the driver? One level deeper. 5, 4, around 5. Awesome. Yes, based on this data, we can say that he is going to give the rider somewhere between 5, right? You're supposed to look at the last column, because that is feedback, right? We are worrying about what he would give to the driver, right? All of you who said 5, kudos, guys, you're bang on. Let me, not demo time. Let me go back again. So can we predict which type of cab Gabbar would like? What cab should we send Gabbar, guys? Sedan. Wow, yes, we will send him a sedan. What happens if we send him an auto? Tell me, it's okay. Silly answers are acceptable. Low rating. Good. He may not prefer. Great. He will be mad and won't give rating. Awesome. I love this answer. Exactly, guys. Gabbar will not come in an auto because we've seen what's happened when we gave him an auto, right? So we'll not give him an auto. The last thing, should I provide low rating drivers to Gabbar in the morning and high rating drivers in the evening? Now everybody is becoming comfortable. They're like, I'll tell Casey. No. Okay. Yes. Okay. There are two different people who said, one said no, one said yes. So for Jessica, since you said no, why do you think we should not change with the driver ratings? And Muskan, since you said yes, vice versa. Because he uses most during evening. Yes, right. Because he prefers only high rated people. Both answers bang on. Thank you so much. Yep, exactly. Now, let me show you something cool. Do you want to see it? Yes, no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me reshare my screen. I'm going to show you. So what I've done is I've actually created a simple dashboard. And over there, I'm just going to show you how Uber rides work. And what you're going to see is some data points, and I will start asking you some questions and you can start giving me feedback. Okay. Let me stop sharing my screen. Let me reshare quickly. Wow. Just before I go there, you have been an awesome crowd. Like there's so much interaction. And see, this is what makes it more fun. The more fun you have with the instructor, which is me, your learning is going to accelerate. Because if learning is boring, you will never learn. Because if a trainer, or if I'm not able to engage with the trainer, I totally get disconnected. And for all of you people who have been continuously, answering my questions, you are doing an awesome job. Now, let me go to that screen. Where's that screen? Where's that screen? There it is. Let me know once you can see it. Can you see the screen, guys?
Yes, Casey.
Awesome. Okay, so this is a very simple dashboard. Now there's a lot of complicated things running on the background. I don't want you to go into that at all, because this session is all about you understanding what study of data using or asking, or by asking, what is it? I forgot. Study of data.
Questions.
Exactly. Study of data by asking the right questions. Great. Wow. Thank you. Okay. Now, so what this graph shows now, all these dots, they're basically showing you from where a cab was booked. And this is USA. Now, this data is of April 1st, 2014. I can see that the total number of rides was 14,546. Now, if I were to ask you, when were the most number of rides taken? Can you tell me at what time? 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. it is. Okay, when were the least number of rides taken? 2 a.m. Yes, great. Yes, 2 a.m. exactly. Now, so first, see, what did we understand? We understood at what time. We understood the first question, which is what time do they often book cabs, right? Now let's go into the next one. Now, if I were to find out from where he's booking, all I need to do from this visual at least is click on this particular segment, which says 5 p.m., right? So all of these gets filtered. Now, what I see in this is there's the New York Stock Exchange, and there are a couple of people who are booking from here. And if I go here, I see that, okay, near the Empire State Building and Madison Square Garden, there's a couple of bookings coming from here. So can I assume that at 5 p.m., everybody is getting back to their homes? Can I make that assumption? Exactly. Now, let's say in the morning time between 7 to 10 a.m., when do you think most people are using their cabs, or when they are booking their cabs to go to work? 7. Okay, yes, it's at 7 o'clock. Now, see, imagine Now, previously, what I did was I showed you data, right, where I was talking about Gabbar Singh, and it took some time for you to understand. But can you see how simple it's become just because it's in a chart? Now, if I were to say all of these rides were taken by Gabbar Singh, you can predict his entire Uber history. You can tell that, okay, at morning at 7 and evening in the 5 a.m. is when Gabbar books most of his rides, and this is the time where I need to make sure that he has a high rating cab, which is of sedan type. If I give him an auto, he'll beat me with a stick, right? So yeah, this was a very small demo which I wanted to show you people. Now, let me get back, right? Yeah. All right, can you all see my screen? Yes, no?
Yes.
Thank you. Wow, all of a sudden. So that's what, no? So see, the thing about answering questions is the best part. The first question is very difficult. You're like, oh God, what is this guy going to say? But once you start asking 2-3 questions, you go with the flow. Now I'm seeing so many people, Muskan, Jessica, Vikas. Oh, I mean, the chat windows, I'm not able to call out names. Okay, going ahead. Coming back to our simple old two-liner, it's a study of data to answer questions. Now, if I have to debug all of this, study is where, we just study that entire data using visualization, right? What we just, that chart is called a visualization because it's visually nice to the eyes, because I can just see that chart and directly tell, instead of looking at that table, which took us a lot of time. If you just look at a common a visualization, a chart, it's way more easier to tell what exactly the data is saying, right? So what is data science again? It's a study of data to answer questions. How many of you are good with this equation now, or this two-liner? Have you understood what data science is at a eagle eye level? Yes, no? Awesome. Now, in summary, data science is a stepwise process, right? The first process is usually questioning and identifying the data. That's what we did. If you remember, when we got the first problem, what we did was we basically went out and we started asking different questions in the 4 different domains. And we started identifying, okay, to answer each one of these questions, what is the data I would need, right? And after that, what did we do? In the second chart, if you look at it, we started exploring and visualizing the data, which is in the demo. When you saw that visualization, you were easily able to explore and visualize the data. And the third one is applying relevant algorithms. We haven't touched on this topic. Don't break your head over it. Just understand that when there's a lot of data which is not straightforward, that's when we start applying complex algorithms on top of it. And it's not all that complex. It's pretty easy. Now, these are the three steps. But what you need to understand is most of our time goes in solving number 1 and 2, because when you approach, let's say you're working for the best company in the world, and when you have a new request, the most of your time is going to go in asking the right questions and getting the right data. So it's all about what kind of questions you ask, and by the end of it, what kind of answers do you get. Now, based on that, you start preparing visualizations to show the client, okay, you know what, this is Gabbar Singh's history, right? First we asked Gabbar Singh all these questions, then we got answers. Now, using that, we built a dashboard. Okay, wait, I spoke too much. Following? Yes, no? No. Okay. What part do you want me to repeat? It's okay, guys, go ahead, tell me. Okay. Okay, going ahead. Okay, we will take that question at the last. Okay, so let's look at another example, right? Now, Okay, two of you have the same question. Okay, let me tell you this. So let me just go through this slide again. What the first one is questioning and identifying data, which means when you saw Gabbar Singh's data, right? After that, you started asking different questions, right? Now, what happens in a typical work scenario is that you do not know what data your client has. So you have to go ahead and based on the problem you're trying to solve. The problem you're trying to solve is how to get a Uber ride for someone, right? Now, to solve that problem, what you're going to do is you're going to ask a lot of questions saying, hey, do you have data for when the rider is traveling? Do you have data for at what time of the day he travels? Do you have data for the drivers? And once you ask all of these questions, out of the 100 questions you ask, your client will come back and tell you that, you know what, I have data for 10 points. And you're going to take that data and you're going to start visualizing. Now, why do you visualize the data? So that you understand patterns. Now, when you looked at that tabular form of Gabbar Singh's data, what you realized is that he had a pattern, right? He used to go to work, or his most often travel time was 10 p.m. He used to his house was from Ashok Nagar. Now, all these insights you get by visualizing data, and an example of that was basically that dashboard which I showed you, right? Using that dashboard, if Gabbar Singh were to take Uber rides, you can easily tell at morning what time he leaves and at evening what time he comes back. Following me now? Yes? No? Awesome. Okay, I'm happy. So the third step to this, let's imagine we had more data points about Gabbar Singh, such as his eating habits, and at what time he would book from Zomato or Swiggy. Now, what we could do is we can take all this data, and based on how a rider particularly books a cab, we can tell what food he eats. It's insane. And that is where machine learning algorithms come into play. And it's all the cool stuff, right? There are so many use cases to what a math algorithm or a machine learning algorithm does. Like if you take Netflix basically starts showing you a lot of ads, and when you start clicking on one ad, let's say it shows you a horror movie ad, and then you click on that, it knows, okay, this person likes horror. So the next time you go on YouTube, they're going to start showing you more horror ads. Now, note this: every time you interact with anything with Netflix, they're tracking all your data. They're tracking at what time you're pausing, at what time you are getting out of the video. And using all this, they create a custom plan for you. And all of this is purely done using machine learning. These are algorithms, right? And that's what I'm telling you. Don't break your head over it. You just need to understand that there's something called machine learning, and they help predict or recommend solutions. Following? Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Now, going ahead. Now, since all my students have become very bright, it's time to ask you a few questions. So for a retail store, what would be a descriptive question, right? Can I ask, what is the QOQ or quarter over quarter or yearly growth in sales for Axe perfume? If I were to ask a diagnostic question, what would it be? With regards to Axe perfume, let's see who can answer this. Descriptive was knowing the history, right? Last year, what happened in the store? Like, was Axe perfume doing well or not? Now you need to know why. What question could you possibly ask? Everybody's thinking. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Think about it. When you need to, get to know everything about the Axe perfume, what are the different questions you would ask your client? Why people like it? Great. But then again, the thing is, why people like it is where machine learning comes into play. What are the types of fragrances? Yes, exactly. Now, Jessica, to your point, why people like it? Yes, this is where machine learning comes in, because now what it's going to do is going to take feedback or surveys from 100 or 200 people, and it's going to put all of it into a model, and then it's going to say, okay, people who prefer, let's say, bread, like Axe perfume chocolate. And if you ever walk into, let's say, a metro, right? Or let's say IKEA. If you walk into IKEA, their entire system is designed in a way such that you are pushed to make more purchases, because it's pure machine learning. Because today there are machine learning algorithms which tell that if you buy bread, then you are going to buy jam. Now, from next time, I want all of you to observe this. Whenever you walk into any mall, let it be more supermarket or big bazaar, every time you enter, what they're going to do is things are stacked together. If you see chips, usually you'll see dairy right around the corner. Now, if you see every time when you check out in any mall, there are chocolates which are always kept at the last. Why? That's an impulse buy, because all of us love chocolates. It's a sugar craving, and once we come there, we buy it. And they did not randomly do this. They did this because that is where the most amount of sales happen. And this is where your machine learning models is basically understanding us and giving us better solutions, making our lives easier. Now, a diagnostic question would be, what types of customers tend to buy Axe perfume, right? The third one, oh, I revealed it. It's okay. Which other product is the customer likely to purchase, right? As I said, if I buy bread, will I buy jam? Now, going to the last one, prescriptive, what kind of question do you think we can ask? This will be very interesting, because this is so right now, what have we understood about the Axe perfume? We've understood the year-on-year growth. We've understood what types of customers buy the Axe perfume, and we have also tried to predict which are the products they buy. Now, what can we recommend this person? Think, it's okay. What kind of recommendation can I do to improve my sales? Hopefully all of you are thinking, or few people are like, हाँ मैं answer नहीं करूँगा. Okay, let me go ahead and do it for you, right? When and what is the right discount offer to the customer? Now, the thing about discounts is it's insane. Like, if I start telling you on how retail stores use the discount strategy to make sure you buy more, you'll be very, very surprised. And it's a very funny human analogy, right? Now, if I price a product at 100 rupees, you will not buy it. But if I price it at 200 rupees, and if I give a 50% discount, there's a 45% chance that you're going to buy the product. And again, these are different people personas, they call, like there are different groups of people. There are groups of people who buy discounts. And the reason why I'm telling you is I am that person. If I see anything on discount, I'm like, yeah, mera hai. Yes, Jessica, big billion days. That's what happens. Everything is overpriced. And a discount is given. Now, what happens is, from next time when there's a big billion day, or if there's any big show happening, what I want you to do is take that price. There are certain websites which give you the historical values or the previous price of that product and try comparing it. There will be no difference. It's just how the big boys play. Now, going ahead. So using all of this data, Amazon starts recommending you all these solutions, right? If you've ever gone to, 100% have been to Amazon, what a question. So whenever you go to Amazon, whenever you buy a particular product, they start recommending you different solutions. This is where the persona comes in. This is where, they start saying, okay, if this guy likes bread, I'm going to give him jam. If he likes chocolate, I'm going to recommend him milk. Okay, milk, not the best suggestion, I guess, but yeah. So these recommendation engines work on your behavior. Your behavior is tracked. And if you even see it, if you have used Swiggy or Zomato, random times in the day, you get a message saying it's time to eat pizza. Then you're like, oh, wow, let me just order pizza. So these are all nudges. They're trying to understand your behavior more and more. And every time you click on any link, your data is being tracked to basically improve recommendations for you. Now, okay, 1 second, I have a question, I think. Yeah. Right. So going ahead, data science is transforming businesses. And one question which I want to ask all of you is, after learning so much about data science, do you want to be part of this transformational journey? Yes, no. Muskan says yes. Harini says yes. Jessica, maybe yes. Okay. All right, so how can we help you become a part of this exciting field, right? Now, the thing is, before I go ahead, how many of you are having fun in this session? Me, huh? Jessica says me. Okay, Vikas. Great. So many of you are having fun in the session. So before I go ahead, the thing is there are multiple factors when it comes to getting placed, right, in different areas of the field. And if all of you are having fun, one thing which I always keep doing is, one second. Oh, the screen share stopped. Give me a second. There you go. Let me reshare my screen. Technical errors, guys. I'm sorry. You might be thinking, Arey, why is this uncle taking so much time? I'm not an uncle between, but yeah, give me, let me just reshare my screen. There you go. Can you all see it? Awesome. Yeah. So what I wanted to say is, if you're having fun, if you're learning a lot from me, one request which I have for all of you is that I keep talking about how to get placed in different domains, how to crack the data science field, how do you make sure you position yourself in the job domain or in different aspects of life to make sure that you hit your goals, right? And I talk majorly about productivity as well, and I do that on my Instagram. So what you people could do is, if you like what I say and if you're having fun, you can go follow Level Up with Casey, and I would keep educating you more on that space as well. Now, going ahead, what was our motivation to do this? This is JD. He's been my senior manager, and so basically what we get to know from students coming from different courses is that there's a huge gap which the industry needs and what people are learning. And that's one of the reasons why we have created this entire webinar series, right? Thanks to Unschool, we're able to reach most of you throughout the country. And for me personally, if I have to, can I share something with all of you? Like, can I take 2 more minutes of your time and share something? Yes, no? Okay. So the thing is, what I want you to know is that I am not from a privileged college. I did not get very great marks, and I did not get placed into the best colleges in the city, and placements was very difficult. And even though there were placements in my college, the maximum package which we were offered was 3 lakhs. And that is when it hit me that all my friends who were in this tier 1 or the best colleges of the city were bagging 10 lakh 15 lakh packages, and I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, I know that I am better than them, but why is it that I don't get any opportunities? It's because there is a skill gap. And usually what happens is we stop upskilling ourselves. We constrain ourselves to just what we learn in engineering or engineering or degree, and we don't go anything beyond that. And this is that opportunity for all of you where, you can go ahead and start basically building your career the way you want it to be. And even to this day, I see a lot of my batchmates who are basically working on boring jobs. And my whole motivation towards doing this is this. The thing is, what if you're from a tier 3 or a tier 4 college? What if you're from a college which the world doesn't know? It does not matter. What matters is if you want to actually go get the job and if you're willing to put in time. And for all of you who have been here for the last 57 minutes listening to me, thank you so much. Thank you so much for, spending time to educate yourself in the field of data science. Now, this is Pranav, another one of my seniors, where his main motive is to demystify the heavily jargonized industry, where anybody you see talks about data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning. The thing is, all of this. So if you have statistics here, a fancy version of statistics is data science in front of it. And then now people are saying, I am AI, I am machine learning, etc., etc. All of these are the same things. So in terms of opportunities, right, for all of you who are here, it's huge. As of last month, there are 130,000 jobs in the field of data science, and the requirements for this job keeps on increasing every year. And 13% of this 130,000, it's around 15 or 20,000 jobs, are for freshers, and it has the highest job satisfaction. Now, You might be wondering, okay, why should I even choose data science at this point? Now, let me tell you this. See, the world is changing. The world has just realized the power of data. And the thing is, for any system to adapt into completely understanding what they could do with the data, is going to take a lot of time. And India is at that stage where big companies, right? These are companies which are doing 1,000 crores or 5,000 crores turnovers. They're just realizing the potential of what they could do with data. Now, as I just told you, Uber used its data to send you a cab in under 2 minutes, right? Now, what if you can use the same data to help a company increase their sales? Previously, what used to happen? Some senior manager used to sit in the company, and based on his experience, he would say, you know what, in summer, a lot of rice is going to sell, and in winter, a lot of dal would sell, right? And this perspective, he basically got based on experience. Now, what does data science do? It helps you to make these decisions based on data, because what do? You study data and ask questions. With these three things, you're able to move, like change the entire way the company looks at the world itself. And that is why, if you look at it, the biggest companies in the world at this point utilize data to the max. And that's why Netflix, right? Netflix, a giant, Uber, a giant again, Swiggy, or Zomato, all of these people are using data. And it's a crazy opportunity. The thing is, if you want to get into the field of data science, this is the right time. And I urge all of you to, go and read up more on data science so that you understand more about this domain. And trust me, it's very interesting. It never gets boring, because one day you are helping an airline sort out their menu for the people on board. The other day, you are basically helping an insurance company change the premium for different customers, right? And it keeps varying. It's not a mundane job. And the entire motivation for us in Team Ground Zero is that we just want to help you get to the next level. We just want you to grab the opportunity and get placed in good companies, because I did not have that opportunity when I started out. But I want all of you to know that it does not matter which college you come from, you have equal opportunity to get placed in the best companies in the world. With that being said, I have finally come to the end of this session.